plan to take down the shield protecting that obelisk. Head to these coordinates, find the control console powered by malignant energy. Titus will provide further instruction. Iridium, Talassa, have you received new orders from Akaran?
We are heading there now, brother.
You will need to rotate the small replica of the obelisk. But be warned, it will hurt.
Not an unexpected revelation.
Go well, brothers. Bridge is the fastest way. Look for an elevator.
Gather at my locus. Magazine out, magazine in. Hook available. Dispensing stims. Swapping out magazine.
Ready for next encounter.
We should not assume everything we find will work as well as this lift. It's like plant this flag. Damage here is significant. Our mobility will be impeded.
Replenished and ready. There is a path through that tomb. Come. Arming up. What needs grappling? Magazine out, magazine in. View your packs, brothers.
Our enemies may not let the dead be, but we will. They have earned their glory. We must brace ourselves against its corruption.
That relic combats the contamination. Bring it with us.
Be warned, brothers. The weight of this relic will slow me in and out of combat. This light is beyond us of the force in the dark. You stay close, brothers.
But continue on course.
Make haste. The enemy seeks to disrupt the battlefield. I feel cleansed by this light.
Weak efforts, bravely earned. Out the magazine. Weapon schematics obtained.
I no longer feel a weakness within me.
Greetings, Masters. All control systems have encountered an error and have been disabled. Reactivating liturgical consoles is necessary to reset controls.
The consoles are in the dark. We need to spread the relic's light.
The relic must remain with the altar while we work. I have found a console to awaken.
Communion interrupted. Liturgical console is
Beginning
authorized.
console activation. I have placed the relic. Now to awaken the consoles.
Awakening this console.
Reawakening console. Maintain current position until process completes. Liturgical console engaged. System restoration initiated. Interaction with liturgical console terminated. Minister has left the area.
The relic must remain with the altar while we work.
Return to the liturgical console to complete reactivation.
Relic is set. Proceed to consoles.
Connecting to console. Transmission requires user oversight.
Swapping out magazine. Fork available.
I have reactivated this console.
Leave the relic with the altar for now.
Liturgical console reawakened. Blessings granted. All liturgical consoles have been restored. Obstruction has been cleared.
Wasted enough time with these machines. The barrier is gone.
The relic is still of use to us.
Cry to your worthless gods! Exterminate the Terminator! Rapid determination protocol complete. Arming up! Connected for help! There is no going back. Engage heretics on sight. My vigor has returned. Calibrate your aim. Rebel will just set. Keep your weapon out.
Something in the light cleanses the corruption. Somehow restored.
Finished and ready. Shock grenade out.
Battle restored.
Wounds only feed my hatred.
The light renews my spirit.
The darkness is behind us. We continue to the device.
Lieutenant Titus depends on us. We cannot delay.
Fools! Your presence here changes nothing.
Work on those words.
Stubborn to the end. Those bolters channel the energy manipulating the land. We must interrupt that process if we are to cross.
The distance is too far for us to cross.
And the lands shift around us.
Stay close to the altar until the lands are aligned.
Tending to my wounds. A way forward has formed.
The island must move closer if we are to continue. We do not have a viable path to cross.
Sending crack grenade! Brothers, the next altar is closed. The next altar awaits us.
Our presence here rotates these lands.
Stay close to the altar until the land arrives. The lands are being too far apart. I'm our way to the next island.
The distance is too far for us to cross.
Agonizing, but your restoration will be splendid.
Reloading.
The island must move closer if we are to continue.
A way forward has formed.
Next termination target. Sorcerer.
This is but a taste of true divinity.
Break down the shield.
After we destroy these vile spheres, I will make this traitor pay.
Not be stopped. We will not be overcome.
Traitor scum! Run from me!
Your deaths will be agonizing, but your restoration will be splendid.
Book available. Sorcerer stand between us and our objective. We end him.
Lies only in the war.
You faltered. We did not.
Now we end this madness. Where is the obelisk replica the Lieutenant spoke of?
Hard tactic ready.
Talassa, report. Our mission is done. And the Titus.
Hello and welcome to... wait a minute. Hello and welcome to Gadget Joe, and today we've got something rather different on the channel, something that we've never done before. This is a 49-inch ultra-wide quantum dot OLED display. It's quite a long video, so if you're in it for the long haul, make sure you get a cup of tea and some biscuits. But it's a pretty good video, really fantastic product. Anyway, that's enough of me. I'm off now. Start the video. In today's video, we're taking a look at an incredibly large display, and that is the display that we have here. It is the MSI MPG 491 CQP Quantum Dot OLED display. Now, normally I would be sat down behind this desk, but unfortunately due to the size of this unit, I am not able to do that. So to give you a rough idea of just how big this thing actually is, if I put it straight in front of you, it's pretty much taken up the whole space of the desk, and as you can see, it is an absolutely stunning display. What we're going to do in this video is something slightly different to the normal format. What I'm going to do is initially do some fancy shots of the display itself to give you a good visualization of how it all looks, and then obviously I'm going to run through some of the specifications, some of the key features of the display. Then I'm going to change the camera angle. I'm basically going to do some key functionalities of the display. So what I'm going to do is effectively watch some YouTube videos on it to see how it looks, to see how the display looks, see how the video looks on a display like this. It is not a 4K display, it's a 1440p unit. It's just an extremely long super wide monitor. What I'll also do is do a little bit of gameplay on it, albeit a little bit badly, and then we will see just how well it performs. I'm also going to put it to the test using the OSRTT testing system, which you'll see later on in the video. I will also link that down in the description, so you can go check one out for yourself as well. It is an incredibly large display. Taking it out of the box was a challenge in itself. As you can see, the box itself was pretty much the size of the desk. So I had to record everything stood up and behind it and tried to open it. It's probably the biggest box I've ever had to open, and it was a difficult job. I would definitely recommend doing this with two people so that it's so much easier to maintain and basically handle. Once you've got everything out of the box, as you see, you have the display itself. It does feature a quite aggressive curve, not too aggressive, it's an 1800R curve, and it is an absolute striking panel. It features some incredible design work on the back, with a MSI Dragon on the left with a glossy back on it, and then you have some stripes going along the back right up to the nameplate on the far right. It does feature a passive cooling system. There are no fans included at all in this monitor, but the graphene film layer effectively reduces the heat of the display. Now, powering a large panel like this means that it's going to generate a significant amount of heat. To install the monitor arm, all you have to do is take the legs, which is this split bar here. It's made of solid aluminium. It's really quite substantial and heavy. Now, the mounting arm is plastic coated, but it does have a metal core running along it. Now, what you need to do here is take the metal noggin that you see at the bottom, slip it into the bottom of the feet using the included thumb screw, screw it into place, and you are pretty much ready to mount the actual mount to the monitor. To mount the stand to the monitor, you're going to have to lay down the monitor itself. Make sure you're careful not to put any undue pressure on the monitor, because obviously it is curved. You are going to be resting it on each corner, so you need to make sure that you look after the monitor properly. Now, the stand itself is around 6 kilograms, so you're going to have to be careful when you do this. All you need to do is line up the two noggins at the top with the back of the open plate on the back of the monitor. All you need to do then is lift up little toggle at the bottom of the plate, and then it just simply pops in. Let go of a little toggle and it will clip itself into place, and then you're pretty much ready to go. Once the stand is on, you have what you see here, and it does have a fair level of tilt rotation, you can move it up and down. I'll explain a little bit more in detail as the video goes on. Now it is, as I mentioned, a 1440p panel. It's a 49-inch ultra wide, or super wide I would probably call it. It's marketed as an ultra wide. I would definitely call this a super wide, and you'll see exactly why in this video. It's not a cheap panel. You can pick these up currently for between $1,000 and $1,100. A QD OLED display is effectively a display that uses an OLED panel for the backlight, giving near-on infinite contrast ratios thanks to its reality. It is a 1440p monitor. It is a quantum dot OLED display too, which but being 49 inches, it's a very, very large display with a 32:9 aspect ratio. It can raise on the stand to between 0 and 100 millimeters, and it can tilt inwards up to 5 degrees and outwards up to 20 degrees.
We just got the new M4 iPad Pros in the studio, and they come with a lot of upgrades. So how do they compare to the previous M2 models? We'll be comparing everything from the display upgrades to the design and materials, Magic Keyboard, Apple Pencil, speakers, FaceTime, microphones, the M4 versus the M2 performance, and value. Right after our sponsor, Paperlike. Paperlike Screen Protector offers your iPad the ultimate note-taking and drawing experience, whilst also keeping your display protected. Using their own nanodot technology for great clarity, you get a natural paper texture, resistance, and even sound. Just listen to this. Paperlike feels so much better than your iPad's glossy display, so check them out by using the link below. Okay, so the biggest upgrade by far is the new OLED display. Apple's actually using dual OLED panels inside these new iPad Pros. Now, if you're coming from an old 11-inch, which has an LCD display, this is the one on the left, the difference is going to be just night and day. For example, everything is going to be brighter on the OLED model, even the home screen. So if I go into settings, you'll see that a new model is significantly brighter than the old LCD. And thanks to this, reflections are also reduced on the new model, and web browsing is also a far better experience just because of how bright and visible the new display is. However, the biggest difference is when it comes to watching videos. Just take a look at the massive difference in brightness. We have 1600 nits of brightness on the OLED compared to 600 on the LCD. Not only that, but there's also a clear saturation difference. The OLED is so much more vibrant than the old LCD, and the OLED also appears to be a bit warmer, quite a bit actually, than the LCD, which looks a bit more washed out. And of course, when you watch a dark video, or if you watch a movie in low light, that's when the difference between the black levels will be very, very significant. You'll see how on the LCD, the blacks look very gray compared to the perfect black levels on the OLED, which combined with the peak brightness makes it look even more stunning. And there's also a pretty significant white balance difference, but at certain viewing angles, they look the same. No longer get that blooming that we used to get with the mini LED display, especially around OLED was actually quite a bit brighter than the old mini LED. Not only that, but I've also noticed a white balance difference between the two. More specifically, the OLED is quite a bit warmer than the mini LED. Also, we no longer get that blooming that we used to get with the mini LED display, especially around white text on black backgrounds. Something else that I've noticed is that the viewing angles are slightly better on the mini LED. So when you view both from the front, the OLED looks noticeably brighter, but at certain viewing angles, they look the same. And then at other viewing angles, the mini LED actually looks brighter. Now, when you buy this new M4 iPad Pro, Apple also gives you the option to pick a nano textured coating for the display. So this is that coating. As you can see, it's very matte. And it's got some upsides and some downsides too. The main upside is that it significantly reduces reflections. This display is extremely matte. It reminds me of my Kindle's display, but like I said, it has a lot of downsides too. For example, the colors are significantly more washed out compared to the standard OLED. And not only that, but the display itself is way softer and it lacks the sharpness of the OLED, which is especially noticeable when you view white pages, with a significant color wash from certain viewing angles. Now, it does make the Apple Pencil feel like it's got a bit more grip than just the standard glass on the other model. But to me, using something like Paper-like just feels way grippier. Now, Apple does give you a cleaning cloth in the box when you buy the nanotexture coating model, which is actually different from Apple's standard cleaning cloth. This is the $20 one that you can buy. This one is way softer and also a bit bigger. I do think that this nanotexture coating is a very specific choice for a very specific group of people. I would say mostly people who work outdoors a lot. To be honest, I think drone pilots, like using this as a remote control for your drone, this is probably the best device because it's very bright. And then buy an iPad with the nanotextured coating, which I think is great here. Same goes for the 11-inch model, which was significantly brighter, more visible outdoors, much brighter, and so much easier to read. So major upgrade here. Same goes for the 11-inch model, which was significantly brighter and easier to see as well. Also a major upgrade. What was quite unexpected to me was that the 11-inch M4 was actually a tiny bit dimmer than the 13-inch M4. It wasn't a huge difference, but definitely something that I've noticed. This may be due to our units possibly having different panels from the two main display suppliers, Samsung and LG. Now, I should also mention that nanotexture coating was just awesome outdoors. It reduced reflections pretty much entirely, and it made it so much easier to see the display. And even though the colors do look very washed out from certain angles, when you look at it straight on, it looks just as good as the regular OLED. Even better outdoors because of how matte everything looks. And one last display upgrade is that the bezels are a tiny bit thinner on the new model compared to the old, and this applies to both the 13-inch and the 11-inch. Now, if the wallpapers on these iPads caught your attention, they are from our Metallic Melt and Playful Pets wallpapers packs. Metallic Melt looks especially stunning on these new iPads. And today, we are launching Acrylic Aesthetic by Arif, with 10 beautiful oil painting style designs. The first design of each pack is free and available in 8K for all of your devices. Also, voting for our wallpapers competition on Discord ends today, with the winner being announced on Tuesday the 21st. The winning pack idea will get made for wallpapers, and the person who suggested it wins an iPhone 15. So stay tuned for the winner reveal on the 21st, and check out wallpapers for Metallic Melt, Playful Pets, and the new Acrylic Aesthetic pack. But okay, how do the new iPad Pros actually feel in the hands? Okay, so I want to start off with the 11-inch. The new 11-inch feels noticeably thinner than before. And the M4 model is also a bit narrower and also taller. So it feels to me as if it's asking to be used in landscape more. Now, when it comes to the 13-inch, this is an even bigger improvement. It is significantly thinner now. In fact, it is a major departure from the old 12.9-inch and a very noticeable weight decrease too. Like, to me, it feels like I'm simply holding a larger 11-inch model. I've always gravitated towards the smaller iPads because of their weight compared to the larger ones, but this 13-inch feels like I could literally use it. And I'm also surprised by how rigid these new iPads are. Like, I cannot really feel any significant flex to them, despite how thin they are. There's also a new color called Space Black now, and it's a bit darker than Space Gray, but it's not as black as it looks on Apple's website. To me, it looks about the same as the Space Black M3 MacBook Pros. And it also really depends on the angle that you see this color from and the lighting. Like, from this angle, these two look pretty much the same. But then from this angle, you can see that this one is quite a bit darker. Unfortunately, Apple did remove the ultra-wide camera from the back. This is now replaced by the LiDAR, which got moved. And then this is the new secondary ambient sensor, which brings us to the next big upgrade, which is the new Magic Keyboard. And I want to start off with the 11-inch model. So the palm rest is now made out of metal as opposed to this rubbery material that we had before. And what I really like about this design is that once you close it, it literally looks like two iPads stacked on top of each other because of this metal design. It is also a bit thinner compared to the old one, and it's also got a redesigned hinge. One that not only looks way more premium and feels sturdier, but one that also allows you to tilt the iPad further back compared to the previous model. Now, when it comes to the actual typing experience, honestly, it feels about the same as the previous model. There is, of course, one upgrade, which is this metal palm rest. This does make it feel way more of like a MacBook compared to the previous feel that we had before. Now, the trackpad is also a bit taller, but not by much. So on the 11-inch model, it is 5mm taller than on the previous one. The great thing is that it's now got haptic feedback, just like the MacBook trackpad, as opposed to this diving board mechanism like we had before. So it's not quite as clicky as it used to be. It's way softer and, again, way more similar to how it feels on a MacBook. But I guess this was also needed in order to reduce the whole weight of this keyboard. And even though Apple has not mentioned this, we do actually have Force Touch support in this trackpad. So if you hold on an icon on the home screen, you can actually feel a secondary click. But yeah, it's not fully supported in iPadOS, so maybe in the future version, we'll just get more usability out of it. Right now, it's just on the home screen on the icons. And the last major upgrade is, of course, the function row of keys, which was completely missing on the previous model. This is a much needed improvement, although the keys are quite small, and it kind of feels like I'm using my old 11-inch MacBook Air from back in the day again. Now, when it comes to the 13-inch keyboard, this one is much nicer to use. The keys are far bigger, and it feels more similar to an actual MacBook keyboard. In fact, it is basically identical, the only difference being the function row of keys, which is, once again, half-sized. They could have made it bigger, like I'm not sure why they haven't, like there is still a lot of space here, which Apple could have easily used. But yeah, the trackpad is significantly bigger on the new 13-inch compared to the old 12.9-inch keyboard. It is 16mm taller now, and it just feels, again, more of like a MacBook keyboard as opposed to this really tiny one that we had before. So yeah, the 13-inch keyboard is definitely the one that gets the bigger upgrade this year. And also quickly, I want to talk about the colors. So this is the new space gray compared to the old one. And again, we have the same material on the back, which in this case, this is a bit darker than the old one. And then, of course, the white keyboard is quite different because now it's silver, only the keys are white. So this is a major difference, I would say, compared to the old fabric that we had before. And unfortunately, this is just the same material. This one already got dirty, and we got it today, by the way. So yeah, I wish that Apple had, I don't know, some sort of fabric material on the back that would have been way more durable and probably a bit nicer too. I do really love the white keyboard though. I think the hinge, the silver hinge, just makes it look so premium than before. That looks just gorgeous. Okay, now when it comes to the total weight, I have to say the weight decrease on the new 13-inch with the keyboard is quite significant. So the new keyboard feels much easier to use, much lighter. However, it is still very top heavy, which is not great for when you want to use it on your lap. But yeah, definitely a great improvement over the previous model. And the 11-inch to me feels just about the same as the previous model, so it is a tiny bit lighter, but not by much. Okay, so let's say that you're like me and you've also got a MacBook Air and you're thinking of maybe getting one of these new iPad Pros with a Magic Keyboard. What's the weight going to be like compared to a MacBook Air? Well, I've got a scale right here, and we've actually weighed all of them. So the 11-inch, that's obviously going to be the lightest package, that's 1.025 kilograms. And the old one is 1.071, so the new one is a bit lighter. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro with a keyboard is 1.380, and the 13-inch with a keyboard is 1.251, while the MacBook Air is 1.237. So the new model is closer to the Air, but the Air is still going to be lighter. For me, however, the biggest issue is when it comes to the weight distribution. The iPad Pro is, of course, very top heavy, so when I'm using it on my lap, it's just not very comfortable compared to a MacBook, which of course is bottom heavy. One final improvement when it comes to the keyboard is the charging speed. So on the old keyboards, we've actually measured this with a specialized cable that shows you the wattage, and you could charge the iPad Pros from the keyboard's USB-C port at 22 watts. On the new models, it's 40 watts, which is the same as the iPad's own USB-C port. So yeah, when it comes to the keyboard, I think it's a great upgrade overall. However, you do need to buy the new design if you want to get one of these new iPads. The old model is just not compatible. So if you already have a keyboard and you're looking to change your iPad, you need to buy a new keyboard as well. Which brings me to the Apple Pencil. Now, this is now called the Apple Pencil Pro, which I think is very weird as it's the same price as the previous second gen. And this Apple Pencil Pro only works on this new M4 iPad Pro and the new M2 iPad Air. Now, the good news is that it's got a lot of upgrades, and my favorite one is definitely haptic feedback. So whenever you double tap the Apple Pencil, Before, we didn't really get any feedback at all, but now the feedback is very similar to the trackpad on the MacBook. And you can actually feel it all around the pencil, so it just feels great. And you can actually tap it even from here, so you don't have to have your fingers near the tip. You can actually use it and feel it from the middle of the pencil as well, which is great. Also, if you just squeeze it, so instead of double tapping, you tap it once, you get this menu, which allows you to change the tools. And yeah, that's very, very useful. And what's really cool about this is that there's also
you.